Namaste. Welcome back to Waking Up with Mindful Serenity Yoga, and we're going to continue answering questions on this cold December morning in my part of the world anyway. Slightly snow covered, just like a dusting of snow out there. Beautiful. I'm going to take the dogs for a walk later in it, but it is cold, which is okay. Perfectly okay as it is. So I have pulled a question from the jar. And I'm not sure what this is. I'm going to read it and then I'll press the timer and take my breath and hopefully it will register. What does, I think it's in quotation marks, the aim is not to see something, but to simply see mean? What does this quotation, the aim is not to see something, but to simply see mean? The aim is not to see something, but to simply see. I'm going to start my timer. Take a deep breath, because I think I need it for this one. And as the aim to simply see, the aim is not, let me read that again. The aim is not to see something, but to simply see. So I'm going right back to the Kenya Upanishads, and I probably will not be saying these correctly in the translations that I've read, and they differ a little bit in every translation. Not that which the eye can see, but that by which the eye sees. Know that to be Brahman, not what people hear adore. I think for some reason, and then someone will say, not that which is illumined, but that which does the illuminating. See that to be Brahman, not what people here adore. And that's ancient wisdom from many, 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 many years ago. The Kenya Upanishads, which would belong to the Hindu tradition, the Jainian tradition, probably Sikhs, I'm not sure, but India. So they're very profound words. So when we say the aim is to okay, I have to look at this again. I don't know why the aim is not to see something, but to simply see. So when we are realizing, as long as we're looking for something to look at or something out there, it's it's something, it's a thing, it's phenomenon, it's material, it's something in our natural world. It's something, we can touch, taste, smell, hear, in this case, see. So we're not looking at the something as being the important thing. It is the ability to see, right? So we're not thinking of the objects of consciousness as being as important as the consciousness itself. So as we evolve, we begin to see that there is something within us that is doing the seeing. There is something within us that is doing the illumining, that is shining on the objects that we are looking at. There is something within us that is far greater than the mind or the body, the thought systems, the feelings, the beliefs. What is doing the actual seeing is the question. What is it that's doing the seeing? We spend so much of our times here in this short little finite, dash that we live in from the moment we die to the moment of our deaths. The dash on the epitaph, for example, we spend our time in that short blink of an eye in eternity's existence, focusing on things out there and thinking that that's what's important. In fact, becoming so lost in them, so distracted by them, we begin to see ourselves as them. So I may be looking at other people and looking for the love of my life, or looking for what people I need to avoid, or the villains in my life. I may be looking at circumstances that are pleasant and ones I want to go after, and circumstances that are unpleasant and things I want to avoid. I may be judging anything that's happening right now as being good, bad, right, wrong, should be, shouldn't be. I may be focusing my attention on that. And then I'm focusing my attention on this body and this mind that I have come erroneously to see as me. You know, I do have eyes on my head that allow me to see physically the world, and I'm using my 5 senses in this body to pick up information from the world so the mind can interpret it, make sense of it, and therefore I can respond because of it. But that is so limiting to real sight. In fact, it is so limiting to the seer that is doing the seeing. If my world becomes all about what I can sense in front of me, and again we'll go back to the sight as the sense perception we're using, if it becomes all about what I can see, I may begin to believe I am that which I am seeing. So I see the body moving, I see the mind working, I see the objects of consciousness passing before me, other people, other objects, circumstances, things, the natural world. And I am so distracted by it that I forget about the seer that is experiencing all this. And it is the seer's job to experience this reality, to understand and be a part of it. It is the seer's job to grow and expand. But when we focus this amazing, omniscient, omnipresent, omnipotent light on these tiny little me's and all their dramas like we tend to do, which is most of the population doing, on our thoughts, because so much of this existence that we're living as these little me's is thought-based. It's in the head. It's thoughts about who we might be, who they might be, what will happen today, what happened yesterday, what will happen tomorrow. Will I be able to accept what's happening now? And it's just so small. Yet we're focusing on this, identifying with it as who we think we are. We don't forget to see that we are actually the light that is shining on this thing. And most of the stuff we focus on is negative, is so-called negative, right? We're making the discrimination that it's negative, or we're describing it as negative because it doesn't suit our insides. It doesn't keep us feeling comfortable inside. It just isn't always pleasant. So when we look out with our eyes at these things and we're searching for something out there that's going to be pleasant and make us feel good, and we're trying to avoid looking at things that don't make us feel good so we feel good inside, focusing all that amazing light down onto these tiny, tiny, tiny little specks. Tiny, tiny little specks of dust, or specks on a ball of dust, which is the earth, right? 7.5 billion people doing this, focusing down on these tiny, tiny little dusts. This amazing light that could be doing so much, and we're using it to shine down on these little dramas of our meanness and getting lost in that and believing that's all that is. That we forget to see that we are actually the light, not what the light is shining on. You know, the light that is so expansive, so infinite, like I said, so omniscient, so omnipotent, omnipresent, everywhere and everything, not bound by time, not bound by birth, not bound by death, not bound by, changing. It's not temporal, it's just is. It just is. And we bring it down into these tiny little focuses, and we narrow it down and we focus, and it's not pleasant. Most of the stuff, like we know that 90% of our thought streams are negative, right? And hear and repeat it over and over again, and that's where we're focusing all this amazing attention on, instead of experiencing, just falling back into that light and experiencing the world from there as it is. So when we say when we're looking for something to focus our vision on out there, we're diminishing the expansive light of the seer itself. So not what people hear. What people hear, adore, is that materialism, that sense of belonging to the material world. Vivekananda said, in not so many words, that the purpose here for the soul is to get the soul to realize once again that it is separate from nature, and nature being anything of the material form in the yogic world. That is, has always been, that it is free. But when we narrow our sights, both our visual sight, a human sight, and our spiritual sights, spiritual energy, down onto something so small, so beneath us, and come to believe that's what we are, we don't see ourselves as that which is doing the seeing, as the seer. So simply seeing, simply being is freedom, right? Looking for something to shine that sight on is bondage, because it will keep us caught in this lower energy. It's like trying to capture the amazing light of the sun into a tiny little speck of a glass when it is everything. So that's what I think of when I hear that, and I'm reminded of that line from the Kenya Upanishads. You know, not that which the eye can see, but that by which the eye can see. Know that to be Brahman, not what people here adore. Stop adoring what's not important. Start falling back into what is. Namaste.